Welcome to my YouTube channel, Knitting on the Farm. My name is Angela and today is Tuesday the 9th of November 2021. My idea behind this video today is not my normal podcast, but it's an introduction or a little chat about my new sock pattern, my first pattern that by the time you watch this will be released, and it will be available to purchase on Ravelry. And I know some people have problems with Ravelry, so if you do send me a direct message on Instagram or a private email, and I'll do my best to try and make sure that you can get the pattern in some other way. So I just wanted to chat to you about the pattern, share some yarny ideas, and yeah, just give you a little introduction. So without further ado then, this is my sock. It is called the Farmhouse Christmas Socks, and it is, as you can see, a very basic vanilla sock with some colour work at the top of it. My idea behind keeping the sock simple and just using the little bit of colour work is if you're knitting these sort of from this time of the year on, it can get quite busy. So my idea was maybe when time's a little quieter, you get the colour work done, and then as you get busier with prep and shopping or whatever you do during December, you just have a basic sock to knit. You won't get lost in the pattern or your row count. You can lift it and do a few rows when you're at a cup of coffee and set it down again and just keep working away at it. The pattern is written for exactly how you see the sock here. So if you want to knit the sock as exactly as mine, you can, but then don't forget that you can also take the sock pattern and you can put your own interpretation on it. And basically what I mean about that is, for example, you can just knit the entire sock plain, as in the heel flap here and the toe, just do a plain cuff. You could do without the striping here, and you could just do your trees. Other way, you can go sort of completely to town, as we would say. You could do a stripy cuff, you could do a full heel in contrast colour, you could do some stripes coming into your toe. Really, you can do whatever you want with the pattern, but the pattern, if you just want to knit a sock as per instructions, the exact instructions for how it is here. It's a basic 1x1 rib, and we have a nigh of partridge heel here, basic heel turn, and just the normal wedge toe. It calls for 2.25mm needles for the mains part of the sock, and 2.75 for the colour work. If you haven't knit colour work before, you need to remember just that you need to make sure that the floats behind are kept nice and loose, and the pattern has links to videos regarding that, and I will show you just what I mean by a float. It's where you carry your yarn behind. So you can see here, these are the floats where they're carried behind. You can actually, you know, go in behind them. They are floats. So they're what keeps the sock nice and loose. Pull them too tight and you'll get a real pucker in the front of your sock. So that's why we use the 2.75mm needles there. I know one of the test knitters knitted on 2.5 and was happy enough with that, because she was able to really adjust her gauge for that. But if you're just not terribly confident about doing that, well then I recommend the 2.75mm needles. I have a chubby leg, and 2.75 worked really well for me. I suppose the other thing is, if you wanted to knit a really extra long sock, it's maybe not the pattern for that, because obviously here is a double thickness fabric and it might be that wee bit tighter just generally with colour work. What else is there for me to say? Yes, I wanted to chat to you about yarn. I'll show you just the pattern as it is. It's called the Farmhouse Socks. These photographs have been floating around, so you're not seeing anything that's not seen before. The pattern is test knit and it is tech edited, so I'm hoping that when you get it, it's in the best possible written terms that you could have. It has a chart for the trees, and it's a very simple, just a very simple chart. I think if I was to write it, it would actually make it more complicated. It's not symbols, it's just colours, and it is very easy. It's just a few rows, and I don't think you'll have a problem with it. If you have any problems, get in touch and we'll see what I can do to help you out. It is a cuff down sock, so the pattern, the chart reflects that, so when you look at it, don't think it's the wrong way round, because it's the right way. So yeah, that's the pattern. There's no photographs throughout the pattern, to allow for economy when it comes to printed. So if you print it all out in black and white, you'll not be missing out on anything. So that is the pattern. It covers a little bit about why I chose the trees and what it means to me. So it's on the pattern for you to read about. The one thing that I did want to just come on and chat was about my yarn choice. I decided to knit the sample in store-bought yarn. I used Regia. I think I mentioned this in my last podcast. I used Regia Silk in 4-ply. I used the colour Berry and Natural. And this is what I have left of the Berry. So I have enough to actually reverse the sock, should I want to. Easily enough. It took, for the size I knit and for the length I did, it took just over 70 grams. It took just the 21 grams of this, but I think if I had measured it properly, I think I had already taken a little bit out of this and had cut it off. So the test knitters, I think they were getting it in the 20 grams, no bother. So those are the two yarns I used, and it was just basically, I think it's nice. Well, it was my intention that it would show someone that commercial yarn makes up a nice sock, and at this time of the year you don't want to be spending maybe an awful lot if you're going out to buy yarn, and for a sock that's only going to be worn maybe just over the festive period, you don't want a big outlay. So that's what I want my patterns to be, just the most economical, but yet the prettiest that you can have. So sometimes when you see the patterns and there's some beautiful yarns, you sort of rush out and you think you need to buy them. So I just wanted to show you what you can achieve in a really good basic yarn. If you look at the samples on Ravelry, some people have knit them in commercial, some have knit them in indie dyed, and you can see there for yourself, they're all beautiful in no matter what you use. So don't feel that you need to rush out and just buy yarn specific for the pattern. Look at what you have and take it from there. That's the idea behind the pattern. It comes in 3 sizes, small, medium and large. Just bear in mind with the colour work that if you do decide to knit the large, to be on the safe side, it's not going to be too big for you in the colour work, if that makes sense. Also consider that if it feels a little bit tight before you block it, colour work makes a huge difference when it's blocked. So, you know, bear that in mind. Don't think that the sock doesn't fit just after you've knit it, because it does. No problem, as far as I can see. Sizing seems to be okay. I'm just beginning to waffle a bit about that, aren't I? So, okay, let's move on. Then, by the time you've watched this, the pattern will have been released. There'll also have been an Instagram live across on Instagram, obviously. So if you've watched this and you don't see the Instagram live, you're not going to miss out on anything really. It was just wanted to say hello and just chat about the pattern and show you a couple of ideas for yarn. I wanted to look just what I had without going out and buying anything, and see what I'm going to knit them in for our Advent knit along, which is starting on the 1st of December. I am going to do a weekly live on Instagram, and I'm going to do a weekly YouTube video just showing little bits of what's happening in the house at Christmas, and then just to catch up on how I'm getting on with my sock. And you can put your comments down below, and I'd love to know how you're getting on with yours, should you decide to knit them. And of course, if you have any questions, you can send me a direct message on Ravelry, Instagram, and then use my private email as well. Questions down below are fine. It just depends if if there's a lot of comments, well then I don't want to lose out if it's something specific. So a direct message or email would be better. But having said that, there mightn't be any comments. Thank you so far for all the interest that I've had. I've had some emails and I've had messages and things about the pattern. So I'm chuffed about that. It really has given me some encouragement, because this is a whole new area for me, and I really don't know how it's going to go, but sure, it was all a bit of fun, so it was, and we'll see what happens. Okay, just for a couple of yarn choices then, I'll show you some commercial and a couple of indie dyes that I have here, just that were in my stash. This is the West Yorkshire Spinners Fairy Lights, which was their colourway a few years ago. It's got nice sparkle in it, you can see. So I thought that might be quite nice. It's going to be a bright jolly sock. So to decide then what to go with that, in it there's some really nice, if you can see the colours there's a nice purples, blues, naturals, greens, reds, obviously. So I could easily match it up with what's left over from the Regia. I could also just play it safe and go cream. If I was going to do that, my floats would be darker behind the cream tree, so you might get a little shadow. If that bothers you, bear that in mind. The colour that you carry can show a little bit on the front. Obviously, if you do it in the darker colour, you can't really see it. Like so. But you might see it a wee bit in that, but with all the colours going on, it'd be okay, I would imagine. That one, you're just going to be more subtle. I had this, which, although it's bright purple, there are sort of damsony purple colours in there. Also, think about your minis that you have in stash, all those minis from maybe Advents that you haven't used, and think about putting one of them with them. You could also go for the blue, the turquoise. I don't have any turquoise. I had thought grey would be quite nice as well. So there's lots of colours you can put, with the likes of it if you're using something that's heavily coloured. Just a basic, that's a Knit Picks 4-ply, just tiny snippets is all that's needed for your tree trunks. About 5 grams will get you away. Then you could go on to something like this, which is a heavily coloured, that's a paw ply yarn. If I was using it, I definitely would go for something plain for my trees. You could also really mute it down and go for the reds, which would be very muted. So you have something like that. There's also a deeper red in there, so you could go for your deeper colour, go for your very light colour. Maybe I showed you that one. So you have sort of something like that for a choice. How about something striping? This is a self-striping. There's a really nice green in it. So think about a mini for it. Though green trees maybe don't, that colour of green maybe doesn't sing Christmas, but it is nice. Go for a more vibrant green to lift this colour here. Again, you could go for just the red with it. Even just go your plain, make a nice prominent tree. The grey would be lovely with it too. Just slightly softer maybe than the cream with it. So you could do something like that, or you could go really deep. So you have things like that in self-striping. That's another self-striping one I have, which would make a lovely pair of socks. I can't wait to see somebody knitting them in self-striping, just to see what it looks like, because I had never thought of it until I started to pull these out, so it would be really nice to see. Then something like maybe your sock sets that you have. I thought this here was lovely, because you have the earthy tones. Think of your sky, your trees, and then, well, this one has a dark grey colour, but you could use that for your trunks. There's a nice, if you can see here, a nice pale colour. So again, let's see, if you get your cream with that, yeah, is really nice. Then you have going to the really earthy tones and pick up your grey. Should be really nice. The colour that comes with it's very, very like it, so I'm not sure how that would actually stand out, but the greens in that are very nice. Pick a green maybe from a mini. Pick a more muted colour. I know those don't look very, you might think very appealing together, but they're nice. That would also be lovely with that one. Yeah. Some of your maybe 10 gram minis that you have, that's not a great colour, but yeah, go down to your 10 grams. That would be beautiful for heels and toes. Introduce a third colour in the pattern, and do it here. So introduce a second colour around here. Just join it in, would be really nice. What else have I? I had some nice sparkly green, just enough to make a short pair. That's lovely to use up the red with it, or to go for something that's not showing up great in camera. Go for the lighter sort of pinky red. So there's lots of options. Don't rush out and buy something. Look through your stash and see what you have. If you only have a 20 gram, as I say, consider, if you have a 50 gram and 20s, consider using an extra colour in here. you know, and filling out and using your extra colour in your sock. This wee bit here, because it's sort of divided with a stripe, there's no reason why you couldn't do a different background colour, which would be really nice actually. Might be something I'll do. So that's some ideas just that I have sitting in front of me, and I hope that if you choose to buy the pattern that you really enjoy knitting it. I do hope that you share your designs if you're on Ravelry. If you're on Instagram, there'll be a tag down below to use. It is KF Christmas Socks, and that'll keep them all together and we can see what each other is knitting. And yeah, I think that's really it. Thank you so much for all your support, your lovely comments so far, and just for general support for the channel. Thank you so much for all the new subscribers that have come across, that have picked me up from different places. I appreciate every one of you. It's so encouraging just to know that people like to watch what I'm doing, what I knit, and they like to see what the family's doing, and just to see life in general. So I do really appreciate each one of you, and I am excited. And by the time you see this and watch the Instagram live, the pattern will be released. I'll put the link for the store down below, and yeah, see you in December if you decide to join the knit along, and if not, I will see all your lovely socks popping up across on Instagram. Any questions, make sure and put them into a direct message or into an email. Please don't be afraid to have critical comments. Have a positive critical comment if there's any such thing, and any way I can, I will of course help you out. Thank you so much for watching, for giving up your time, and I will see you again soon. Happy knitting!